Hey everyone, welcome back to Workplace Revamp, the podcast where we tackle the tough stuff about work, life, and what comes next. I'm your host, Renee Madden. Today's episode is something so many of us are thinking about. That moment when you say, I'm done with the 9 to 5, what do I really want? Whether you're pivoting from corporate to entrepreneurship, eyeing retirement, or chasing something that finally feels right, this one's for you. Joining me is someone who's not just leaped herself, but helps others to do it. Lisa Andria is a transformation coach, podcast host, and the founder of Ladies Who Leap. Lisa helps women go from stuck and scared to clear and confident. And I'm so excited to dig into her story and tools. Lisa, welcome to Work.
Thank you, Renee. It's fantastic to be on your new podcast. I love it. I love it. I always love talking to you, so this just makes it even better.
I love talking to you. And I was on Lisa's podcast just released last week. And so we had a great conversation. And now we're going to dig into Lisa's story. And I'm really excited. So let's start with the name Ladies Who Leap. I love it. Bold, brave, unapologetic. What leap did you take that changed everything?
Well, I'll tell you, I've taken a couple leaps because most of us actually leap a couple times in our lives. But for me, the real biggest one was about 11 years into a marriage back in 2003. And I woke up one morning and I realized I didn't even know who I was. I had completely lost friends, had lost interests. I did everything that my husband wanted to do. And my mom had warned me about that, which was very interesting that she had said. And so I had waited until my mid 30s to get married, and I still allowed it to happen. And I think that us as women have a tendency to put ourselves second or third or whatever. If we have children, we're married, we don't put ourselves first. And in my case, a lot of it had to do with, and I didn't figure that out until many years later, that I really had to change who I was internally in order to be able to really love myself and be able to do what I really wanted to do in life. So that was the first thought that came to mind. As far as the leap, it was getting the divorce. That's a huge leap. And that was a change in my life, complete change in my life. And going from that to, eventually transitioning and retiring the first time I did, and then transitioning into new jobs. And then the final leap was retirement in December of 2022 years working for a telecom company of some kind, because the first 33 years were with one company, although it changed names and things like that. And then the last years were with a couple more. But that was a huge leap. And that was more of a scary one.
And you tell us a little bit about it. Like, what made you take that scary leap? Like, what was that one thing that kind of pushed you to do it?
I'll tell you, when I took a sabbatical, a 6-month sabbatical in 2018, it started. And I sat back and I said, okay, my blood pressure was high from the stress from my job. I actually cried twice from a boss. I mean, I was in my 50s. Who wants to cry? Have a man make you cry? It was absolutely ridiculous. But it was the health issues that really led me to say, okay, that's it. I said, I actually quit my job without having a job, which is unheard of, as most of us who's listening know. But I did it. I talked to my financial advisor, which I would always suggest when you do anything like that, and say, okay, where can I find enough money, even for 6 months, for me to figure this out? And when I started that journey of trying to figure out, okay, what is my purpose and passion? What do I really want to do? I was sick and tired of floating through life. And I really wanted to find what was my passion. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going on a journey. I might as well, write it down or do something about it to help others. And then I realized, oh, I'd really like to help other women doing the same thing. And then that led to understanding that there's such a thing as coaches, life coaches. I had no idea at that point. And then I started interviewing some coaches and finding out more about them. It wasn't called a podcast at the time. At least I didn't know about podcasts. I just pulled out a recorder and started talking to women and recording their leaps, which at the time I called it reinvention. That was my phrase for it, was reinvent
Nice.
yourself. Yeah. And so I started doing that and I became a life coach. I had a client who was thinking about retiring and I made her more comfortable with it. She's now retired and super happy. So that's really cool. And I did that. At the end of that 6 months, I had to go back to a full-time job monetarily, but I took a downgrade. I went from a high pressure account manager sales role. And after my own steps that I took to reevaluate what I liked about the job that I had, what I didn't like, I tried other industries. It was hard to get into them. So that didn't work. But I learned a lot about the process of research and investigating, right? And then I went back to work at a lower level job, took a cut in pay, but my whole mental health well-being was a lot better. And actually I loved doing that job for the remainder of my career until I retired.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think, sometimes we get to a point in our lives where the job title doesn't define us anymore. Can you tell us, like, how did that hit for you? Because I know when I was in my 30s and 40s, I always wanted the next title, the next title, the next title. And now I'm at a point where that title doesn't matter anymore to me. If what matters to me is my purpose.
Yeah. One of the steps that I tell women to take when they realize or they become aware that they're just not happy at what they're doing is to look at what you love about your current job and what you don't like about your current job. And I believe that what happened is, and again, we as a lot as women in executive level positions, we kind of float through life. And you're right, chasing after making more money, getting that better, title, and having that define us,
Yeah.
which it shouldn't. What we should be doing is looking at what we truly want to do in life. What is our actual purpose and passion? What is our why in life? And then going towards that. And to be honest, if you know what your why is, I'll tell you, you'll be very successful. And whatever titles come your way, they will come your way because you're working on something that you really feel passionate about. I didn't realize that for a long time. And I think just didn't think about. I just went through life kind of like all of us did, especially during our 20s and 30s, actually more our 30s and 40s, just trying to be better and get that better title and make more money and just not really thinking about what is it we're doing and what do we love about it. I mean, because there were certain things that I loved doing to being in sales. I loved meeting new people. I loved their stories. I loved helping them be successful in their job, which then ultimately, as a salesperson, made me successful. So there were certain things that I loved, but there were a lot of things that I was chasing after that really had nothing to do with me at all. Thing to do with me at all.
Yeah, I've been there, Lisa. I've definitely been there. So how do you help women rediscover themselves? If they're for those tuning in, and I know I have daughters now in their mid to late 20s, and sometimes they feel stuck in a role that no longer fits them. Like, what's that mind shift that they need to make in order to like make the next step?
Well, they need to make a decision that they actually want to make they want to make a leap. And that leap could be in any area of their life. We're talking about career here. So they have to make a decision and become aware that they're not where they should be or meant to be. And once that awareness happens, I have this thing called the dream method. So, yeah. So the first step is the D, right? So it's about discover. So this is where you're really discovering what your values are. You're exploring your own interests. What did you do as a child that where time just flew by? Or some teachers tell you, "Oh, you do this really well. You should consider doing this as a career." What you know brings you joy when you do it. And it could be as simple as, like I said, I loved learning about new people and meeting new people. So that's a little bit of a sales kind of thing. You could actually do that as part of, account management if that's something that you like to do. If you like to solve problems, that may be something else. If you like to see projects get through to completion, might mean you should be a project manager. And then if you like art, it may mean you need to make art. And if you even do it on the side, I had someone who I interviewed, she figured out at 50 after her grandmother passed that her grandmother wanted to be an author and she never did. And she regretted that. So that was her dream. So she said, oh my gosh, I want to be an author. And she actually she had 3 kids. She was married. She took her TV time after work and dedicated it to writing books. She now has 13 books that
Oh,
she's,
wow, that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And she's an IT manager during the day. So you can take even baby steps, but you have to understand, what is it? Become aware of and discover who you are and what you love to do. That's the first step. Then it's R, right? Dream, reflect. So you do some introspective thought and you consider your strengths. You reflect on who you want to be in 5 to 10 years. And, it depends on your age. You reflect on past experiences, like what was things you did that were fulfilling? What did you do that taught you important lessons, or that you really discovered new things about yourself? And that's when you're reflecting, you always want to journal. So this is where, to me, journaling is really important because you can actually explore what you're grateful for. You can explore things that you do well and really learn how to believe in yourself and love yourself. And then explore what success means to you. Because for every single one of us, success is something unique. And if you're going towards something and you want to be successful in it, what does that mean to you? So this is all, you're reflecting internally about yourself and what you truly want in life.
I love it. So that's
Yeah.
the R,
Then the E is explore. So
explore.
this is your do phase, right? You're actually going to step out of your comfort zone. There you go, where that growth happens. And you're going to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do, but it's new. And it may be new or it may not, but if it's new, then you have to explore those new activities. And it could be just new interests or hidden ones that you've always wanted to come out and play, meetups, get with people that do the same thing, go to certification classes, training classes. I want you to be creative and childlike in this phase. The more you relax and just enjoy the process of learning something new or figuring out and getting around people that do the thing that you now have figured out is your why, the more enjoyable it'll be and the more that you'll learn. This is where you'd have to battle that confidence part, right? Because confidence is knowing that nothing you do is going to ruin anything. That the fact that when you have confidence, you are expecting and okay with making mistakes and not knowing everything and allowing it to just unfold. And that's where confidence comes from, because you actually believe in yourself and hey, if I don't do this well, it's okay. I'm either going to change direction or I'm going to learn more about it, how to do it correctly. Or how to do it differently or whatever. So this explore phase is where you really need to get the confidence to take that first step. And even if you're working full time, you have to take baby steps because financially there isn't any other way for you to do it. Do it after work. Do it on the weekends. Take time off, as you get time off from work, go to a training class. Whatever it is that you want to do, this is the time to explore it and really understand it. And you can explore more than one thing. If you figured out, there's a couple things I want to explore, I want to figure it out, do it. Take your time and do it.
Mm.
And then when you get to the A, now you want to make sure that whatever you've explored and decided upon, you're in alignment. It's in alignment with you, with who you want to be, with your values. And I don't know if I actually talked about the fact that eliciting your values is in that first phase, that first discover phase, but I probably think I forgot to mention it. But you should have a list of your values, what you value in a career, in a company you're going to work for. Sit down with yourself, close your eyes in that first phase. Sorry, I forgot it. and say to yourself, what is important to me about career? And the very first words that come to mind, you could record yourself, which is a nice way to do it. So you can just say it out loud and you can write it down later. Makes it so you don't have to open your eyes and write it down. Just record it and say, what is important to me about career? And write down every word that comes to mind. And you can get a good 10 to 13 words. And as words start to repeat themselves, you're done. Keep those. So on the A phase, you want to go over those values again. Make sure they are all looking forward, not I want to get rid of something. No, you want to look forward to things and make sure that whatever you decided is your purpose or passion, that it aligns with you as a person.
Makes sense and easy to do.
Yeah. And I mean, if you need to recheck your direction, your actions, it's a good time to do it. Just make sure you're in alignment with all the steps that you're doing, that it's in alignment with you. It's your unique values. It's your self love that you've put forward. You're doing this because you love yourself, because you value yourself, because you prioritize yourself.
That's great.
And then the M is this is where you have it. You are actually doing it. You are in the phase where you found out what it is and you're taking the action steps. And now you need to keep that motivation, which is the M, and you need to manifest and you need to seek help if you need someone to help you along the way. I mean, you want to stay persistent, you want to stay motivated because determination and resilience is critical to keep going, keep going towards your goal. At some point, you're going to be taking so many steps up that ladder. You're going to get to the top of the mountain and you go, oh my gosh, I've accomplished so much. I'm doing this. What's next? So whenever you do start this dream, dream big because you can do whatever it is that you set out to do. And if you need help, people like myself, yourself, Renee, we're here to help. And in my case, I'm here to release any negative stuff in your unconscious mind so that you can clear your path so you can start going forward with your purpose and passion and living more fulfilling life. Yeah.
That's great. So dream. Can
Mhm.
you go through discover,
Discover, reflect,
reflect,
explore,
explore,
align,
and
and then the M is motivate and
motivate? Oh, that's great. And maybe do you have more info on that on your website that we can share the link for people? That seems like a great framework.
yeah, there's a dream page on my Ladies Who Leap
Okay.
website.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about imposter syndrome. I
Mm.
mean, felt it. I've been there. And I know, like, we talk about confidence too. So, we say, oh, well, you have to be confident. I hear that a lot. You have to be confident. Well, what advice can you give to women about how do they change that, their insecurity or that feeling of imposter syndrome to become more confident?
Yeah. So let's talk about what imposter syndrome is, right? It's when you feel like you're a fake or an imposter in what you're doing, that you got that promotion or you're successful in your business simply because of luck, you know? And a lot of women, I mean, I hear it almost every day when somebody says, oh, yeah, I got, promotion, but I was really lucky because somebody left their job or something. First of all, I want women to remember something that you got your promotion, that you're successful in your job, that you do your hobby or whatever it is that you enjoy doing really well because of you. I want people to remember there is no company that's going to hire anyone or promote anyone if they don't have the ability to do the job. They just don't do it for fun. They do it because you are qualified, because you're knowledgeable, because you're persistent, because you have proven that you can do that job really, really well. So that's why if you're a realtor and you sold a house because you were honest and people trusted you and you did the right thing and found the right place for someone to buy. You did a good job. So that's the first thing I want to remember is to believe in yourself. Totally believe that you got this because of your own skills. Okay, that's number one.
Okay.
And And confidence, like I said, is knowing that you can make a mistake, but it's not going to ruin everything. Confidence is just knowing you know that you can do this and you keep going forward. And if something happens, or that's okay. You learned a lesson or you change direction. But believing in yourself, understanding and stop the negative thoughts and those silly comments, which goes to the second step of this that I say is
Okay.
support each other. Support each other. When you hear a friend say, "Oh, I got this promotion, but it was kind of by luck." No, say to her, "No, you didn't get it because of luck. You got it because you're really good at what you do." So surround yourself with people that support you, that give you celebrate your wins with you
Mhm.
and lift you up. And if you're a woman in a community of women, friendships, support each other. That's like so super important, is to
Oh,
have the women support each other. It's not
that's
life is
that's
not a
not important
competition.
to hear that, to be honest, especially at the more senior level, I found, but it's so true. And you mentioned that negative voice. Sometimes it can be really loud in our heads. How do we stop it? How do we change it from telling us that we're not doing a good job or we're not good enough? What are some tips?
So, I mean, I have a little method. It's kind of a conscious method because I have other unconscious mind type of methods to release those negative limiting beliefs. But that's going to take the work of a skilled person like myself to do it. But as it's happening, if you become aware that you've got these negative thoughts, "I'm not good enough. I'm not good at what I do," and it's going through your head, I made up this phrase called "plug the hose." So either you say it out loud, although if you're in public, that might look a little weird, but you can say it in your head also, "plug the hose." And it just kind of shakes things up for a second for you to say, "Oh, I'm doing that again. I want to stop the as the water is just flowing out of a hose and you can't stop it. The negative thoughts are literally just flowing in your head. But if you say plug the hose and you envision yourself stopping those thoughts, a lot of times it'll be enough. And then if you can remember the thoughts that you were saying and write them down and then flip them into positive affirmations and turn those into what you say on a daily basis, over time, you can start to change them.
Yeah, that's
Again, there's some many
that
Reddit
blows.
on, yeah, plug the hose.
Plug the hose, because I know the other thing that happens sometimes with women, and it's happened with me, is sometimes you can let it hijack your whole day. When you have this negative thing in your head, and maybe it's someone who said something nasty or a friend who isn't supporting you, and you can't get over it, and it impacts your whole day. Like, you have to just stop, right? And it's like, I like that. Plug that hose
Yeah.
to stop
Then
it.
turn it into a positive and think about, okay, all this negative talk, how is it serving me? What is it doing for me? Well, not doing anything for you. So if you also come to the realization that this is not serving me well. It's not helping me in any way, much like worry doesn't help, right? All these negative thoughts, it's not serving you. It is something that is working against you to accomplish your tasks and to make you have a happier life and to move forward with confidence. It's literally doing that to you.
It's holding you down. Absolutely. I know community is a huge part of what you do. Can you talk about how important it is to be surrounded by people who see your potential?
So there's a lot of wonderful Facebook groups with women. There's a lot of mastermind groups that focus on women. I mean, it is to me the day and age of just women communities are just abundant all over the place. And as you know, I think we met in one of those masterminds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just so supportive. I have a private Facebook group, again, Ladies Who Lead, and to get on those calls and to have everybody be very vulnerable, share what their issues are, and have all the other women support and give you ideas on how to do things better in your business or in your personal life, and just give you that support. is so important. And we have the opportunity now where these communities are everywhere and you can do them virtually, you can do them in person, but they all have the common goal of supporting women because I do believe we haven't had that in our past as much as we have it right now. I think it's a great time for women right now in supporting each other. Even though we're dealing with a lot of social issues, we've gone backwards quite a bit. But if we support each other and we're there for each other, that's going to make a big difference in our lives.
So true. So true. So you talk about dream and dreaming big. You say it's okay to go after what you really want. But what stops most women from doing that?
Well, those limiting beliefs is a big deal. Those negative ideas that you can't, that you're not good enough. And I do believe that all of those stem back to the fact that you may not truly love yourself. That's something that I had been battling. And I didn't even realize it until much later in life. It was actually recently when I was going through my own breakthrough session as I was learning how to do these things where we talk to your unconscious mind. And it pulled out the fact that I didn't love myself. So think about it. When you love someone, a friend, family member, they can make mistakes. You could talk through it. You can forgive them most of the time. I mean, if it's not anything really big, they can fail at businesses, whatever can happen in their life, you're there for them and you love them through it. You have to do that for yourself. And I think that as women, we define ourselves by the mistakes that we make rather than thinking, okay, life happens for you, not to you. So all of these supposed mistakes, supposed lost opportunities or expectations, they're actually opportunities to do something or to let something good in. If you didn't get that job that you went after, it's because another job really better, much better is out there for you. So the negative thoughts, I think, and not truly loving yourself and trusting yourself is something I think that is the worst obstacle that we have to overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I think sometimes it's just a matter of, again, it's that change of mindset. And I don't think we're taught to love ourselves.
Mm,
We're never taught that. We're taught that we love other people, but we never sit back and think, oh, I love what you did. I'm so proud of myself. And I
mhm.
think, if we can do more of that, but sometimes it's hard. So, if someone's thinking of leaving corporate or reimagining what retirement looks like, what are a few questions they should ask themselves to start defining what's next? I think you touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but can you give us maybe a few steps of what they can do?
Yeah, and it's kind of the same steps I'd written an article about. Okay, so you got laid off. Congratulations.
Yeah, great article.
And
I loved it. Yeah.
so the first thing is really sitting back and taking that first step of the dream method really is discovering yourself. What is it that what brought you joy even as a child to really think about what you would like to do. And then taking time to just kind of just absorb that in. Think, it really is a time for you to reflect on yourself before you take any steps. Because when you start taking steps, even though you can make mistakes and redo them or learn from them, you want to make sure as you start taking action that you're going forward in the right direction. So really thinking about what you want to do, taking those steps to understand yourself and be in alignment with your values is really the first step to do it. And then taking that first step. I mean, that's like the most difficult.
Mm.
That's where, confidence and believing in yourself comes in. You don't necessarily have to quit the job that you don't like, but taking the step towards it, baby steps, but even just the first step, even maybe getting a business coach or a coach in particular and having them help you take the first step, having them explore yourself to know what that first step is. And then, if you're going to be retiring or thinking about it or changing your job, talking to your financial advisor, thinking about, is there someone do you have a spouse that can support you while you look for and find your purpose and passion? Look at 401ks. I mean, in my case, I found 6 months worth of a 401k. So it was enough for me to take 6 months off to do that reevaluation, right? So if you have that, know how much time you have, really evaluate the financial aspects of it, and then make sure you have some type of support system. Again, if you don't have the friends and family that you trust at that moment in time, it's a good time to hire a coach and have them because they're in your corner. They will always be in your corner. They're there as your cheerleader and to help you, to keep you accountable. There's so many coaches and they have different specialties, and you can see which one you feel most comfortable with and pick that one to do it. And then just enjoy the beauty of your work at the end.
Great, Lisa. Can you give a little bit of color around a coach? Because I think sometimes people don't really understand what a coach can do for them. And you're a life coach, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Transformation. Yeah.
what does that look like for someone new to coaching?
So let's take a step back for a second. In everybody's lifetime, they probably have a friend or friends that they kind of unleash on when they're having trouble, when they're confused in life, and they could kind of bother them a bit much. And at some point, these wonderful, trusting friends may say, okay, I've had enough. It's a little difficult for me. You just keep talking about how unhappy you are, but you're not really doing anything about it. A coach is someone who will not step back or step away. You are their focus. Your success is their success. So there's someone that is there for you to make sure that you are successful in your dreams or overcoming anything or being accountable or starting a new business, whatever that coach that you've hired. In my case, it's more emotional based. So it's more about, I mean, I kind of mix a little bit of the unconscious mind work with the practical steps. So it's the woo woo and the practical put together is how I like to call it. Um, but what you need to do is you just understand that a coach is there to understand what is making you tick and how you need to be more aware and how you can move forward with a positive mindset and overcoming all those negative thoughts. And they usually have a lot of really great techniques to kind of speed that whole process along too. So where alone it may take you much longer, with a coach it would take you in a shorter period of time because we've been trained, highly trained, and most of us in all of these techniques, and the fact that we can talk to your unconscious mind and speed things along a bit.
Oh, Lisa, this was so powerful. We've learned so much from this short time from you. Where can people find you? So, because there's probably someone out there right now listening that wants to leap, but is just not ready or afraid. And how can they find you?
Well, I do have a little free thing out there called leapwithconfidence.com. And it's three
Okay.
videos that you go at your own pace that talks a lot about how to take leaps with confidence. So it includes several things. But you can reach me to have a nice conversation, see if we work well together at ladieswholeap.com.
Ladies who leap.com.
And I'm on like social media, a couple of social medias at Lisa A Coach too, is something that I go by.
Okay. Oh, Lisa, that's great. I will drop all the links in the show notes so everyone will be able to connect with you, Lisa, and follow your podcast, Ladies Who Leap, so that you can take that first step. If you're thinking about that right now, you can do it. So thank you so much, Lisa. And hey, if today's episode struck a nerve, share it with someone stuck in indecision. Sometimes the nudge we need comes from someone else's story. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Renee. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you.